What we do here is go back. What we do here is go back.
And hopefully we are live. Good evening, Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. It is Saturday, the something of some month or other. What is it? 25th of July 2026. And it's a little bit cooler here in Bristol currently. Actually got the window open to get some fresh air breezing straight through. Although my HP laptop, which is just there, the fan is whistling like Dixie. That thing is a pain in the ass. I have to set fire to it. But the temperatures are much cooler, so that is great for making videos and doing live streams. So I won't be sweating my testicles off and having my legs stick to the seat, which is, however fun it is for you, it's not much fun for me. Kath's actually got her hoodie on today. She's over by the window, unfortunately, and she's getting a bit of blowback from the window. She's a little bit chilly, so it is what it is. Hopefully, Christ, what else? Hopefully you can hear me and see me. It's a little bit darker at the moment. Not going to put the lights on yet. Trying to keep the temperature in the room as cool as possible for as long as possible, because this is the coolest day we've had here in probably 3 weeks, maybe.
I'll tell you when that house
the last time
struck,
yeah, we had lightning the last time there was rain and it was cold.
I have a photo on my phone.
So I'm sure it was about 3 weeks ago.
That was on the 22nd of June.
22nd of June. So yeah, a month and 3 days we've had like pretty much consistently
Lovely weather.
hot weather, and it's finally tonight. It looks like it's actually going to be getting a little bit cooler, which is great.
For 3 days.
Yeah, for about 2 or 3 days, then it's going to be super hot again. So back to the
It's looking like it might rain.
back to the tanning salon. So good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us on this festive evening. It nearly didn't happen this evening at all, the stream. Today has been, well, this week has been such a bizarre thing, left, right and centre. One of the things which I did initially set the stream as being starting at 9 o'clock. A long-term, well, a customer of ours who's bought PCs of us before, a couple of PCs actually, messaged yesterday, I think it was. Or was it the day before? Might have been yesterday, can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Asking, have you got a PC for sale around about £800 to £900? A friend of mine is looking for one. Just like, perfect. I don't have one at that price, but I have one a little bit more expensive due to the RAM price increases, etc., etc. But potentially we can kind of make a deal and I can bring it down a little bit to be a little bit more favourable, being as you're a previous customer. And they were very happy. Pass it on to their friend wants it, but the person who was like the middleman was going to be coming here around about 8 o'clock this evening to get the PC, which would have made it really tight for doing the stream. But he's actually off to London tomorrow at midday. So it was kind of like the last time that he could go and pick up his friend. They could both come here, check the PC out and take it away. He messaged about an hour ago saying, unfortunately, he's basically stuck in his office. Won't be able to get out for a while. So he's going to be even later than planned. So probably best to carry on doing the stream. And he'll come in and try and get to us tomorrow morning about 10:30 before he then has to scoot off to London. So yeah, I do apologise for the constant pings on the Discord saying that the stream's late or the stream's going to be going ahead or the stream's cancelled or whatever. So my apologies there. Slightly out of my control. But on the plus side, we're here and pretty much on time. Almost. Which is, for us, is actually not too bad. So very pleased with that. So again, once again, thank you all for joining us this evening. I really do appreciate it. At the moment, with YouTube as it is, I think other creators have said about it already, but the YouTube algorithm, the stats, the whole thing is just completely broken at the moment. Videos that I would have put out, or other content creators would have put out maybe a year ago, 6 months ago, which would have got probably 10 times the number of views that they're currently getting. It's really, really, really cutting to the bone right now. The view count is very low, even though we're actually making some pretty decent content, at least in my opinion anyway. And you lot are all doing some very good things and supporting the channel. People such as Mark Gaines, who has been a member now for 16 months and is currently upgraded to the 80 Plus Platinum, of which we thank you very much, Mr. Gaines. Much appreciated, and hello to you and the family. David Underhill says, morning from a mega cold Australia. Minus 3.4 feels like minus 6.1. Holy Jesus. That is bloody terrible.
19 here at the moment, and it feels like minus 3.
It's 19 degrees here currently, but it feels like much colder. It feels like about 12, 13. I quite like it. It's quite refreshing. And hopefully the fresh air coming in the window is going to wake me up a bit, because what with the weather and also the stress of having this PC hanging around and not selling and then potentially selling, and all the YouTube stuff going on, which is just like completely breaking my mind. Not been sleeping very well. So I get to the point in the day where it's like, I could easily nod off now, but yet when I go to bed, I can't sleep, or I'm struggling to sleep. I might have to dig out the Q-Link. I haven't worn it for a little while, and I wonder if that is the problem. For those of you other hippie friends out there who believe in kind of all this kind of hippie stuff going on, maybe I need to crack out the Q-Link again. I did sleep much better when I was wearing it, to be fair.
Billy Bob?
So I might give it a go. We'll see. Billy Bob. Did Billy Bob... Oh, any plans to follow other content creators over to Kick platform? I haven't really looked into it, to be honest with you. I know very little about it. It is something which I guess would probably be worthwhile taking a look at. To be honest with you, I'm not even 100% sure it's the platform's problem. I think it's just the way that the market is at the moment. Obviously, prices are just horrendous at the moment. People are losing interest left, right and centre because there's no new products really. It's just rehashed stuff kind of year on year. So there's nothing really for us to get our teeth into. There aren't any real like new games which are kind of pushing sales. Yeah, it's just a lack of interest. And with everything which is going on in the world as well, price increasing, the cost of living, etc., it just makes the PC even less attractive. Although, I must say, thank you to Valve and Steam for making the Steam Deck, because it has made people realise that you don't need to spend a lot of money to build a PC. Unlike them, who have spent an awful lot of money and are trying to charge you a lot of money for basically a shit PC. Yes, it's very small, great, fantastic, lovely, knock yourselves out. If you're living in communist China and you have a small apartment block, 6 foot by 6 foot, and you live in that, get yourself a Steam Deck. probably a great idea. But for most normal people in the world who have at least a 12-foot square room, buy a PC. It's much better. It's much faster. And probably most likely a lot cheaper. Hello, Maisie. Maisie is currently scurrying around in the delivery bag. Bless her heart. Arali says, sorry I'm late. Don't worry. With the plans that we made today, I can excuse anything. Alexa says, the grass never stops growing, Mike. Maybe you can make a few videos about lawn and garden products. We did that. Some of the best performing videos on the channel are actually for DeWalt tools.
Tell you what we could do.
Weirdly. Scooter?
No,
Skateboard. Electric lawnmower.
Scoots rain, no.
Oh, a robot vacuum.
Yeah,
a robot lawnmower. I've seen a lot of videos for those, and I was thinking to myself, I would quite like a robot vacuum, a robot grass cutter, but Kath would hate it, and you just suggested it. So
I can't mow the lawn anymore, so
we'll see.
I like it done every day. But I wouldn't want it collecting it, so you could take the dirt box out. Just let it scatter.
Lessa says, DeWalt is a good brand. I've used them for years. Yeah, pretty much. For the last probably 10 to 15 years, I guess, I've pretty much only bought DeWalt tools. There's been a few other things which if the DeWalt don't make or it's just stupidly expensive, I bought elsewhere. But most of the stuff I've bought recently has been DeWalt. And actually, the DeWalt Weed Whacker that I bought probably, yeah, almost 10 years ago, still works as good as it did the day I bought it.
And we've only changed the spool once, wasn't it?
Yeah, the spool actually only changed once.
Have we changed it even?
Yeah, the original one only comes with like a crappy amount. So yeah, that was great.
Or did we just change it for the
like that?
video?
Firephone says, Mike, will the new PM decentralise UK? I don't think the UK has ever really been centralised. Like, London is the kind of the power place of England. Almost the world, because the London banking, there's a weird place in London, it's like almost like a square mile. It's called the City of London, and it's where all the banks and stuff are, and they've got like their own police. They're basically a different entity. It's like if like Texas declared independence against the rest of the country. Oh, actually, that's probably a bad analogy, isn't it? Because they're not far off it anyway. But you get a general idea. It's, yeah, the kind of the City of London is in London, the area known as London, but it's a separate, basically a financial district.
Isn't it abroad?
It's very weird.
Entity.
Yeah, you don't need a passport to enter, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's very weird. But yeah, everything happens in London. I don't know. The new PM is much like the same as the old PM, and the old PM is the same as the last PM. They are all basically the same. It doesn't really make a difference. So
Subscription to that lawnmower, isn't it? I suppose.
yeah, it's true.
Look, our washing machine's leaking, and I just, want a smart washing machine.
Yeah.
I'll have to be back to doing it by hand.
Then they charge you to use your robot lawnmower every time you use it. Subscription AI, blah blah blah. Yeah, some of them. The thing is, it's always been like that with those robot vacuums, isn't it? The indoor ones, that they're not really subscription, but
They will be.
they could quite easily be, and they could change the model. But
Just like Fitbits.
most places won't do that because they want to draw in customers, and it's much easier to have two-tiered operation. So you have like your entry-level basic tier, which does pretty much all the functionality, but then you get a subscription tier, which then allows you to be a little bit more flexible and maybe set up more paths for the robot or more than a couple of schedules or something.
You've bought it. You shouldn't have to be paying extra for different features.
Yeah, but that's
If those features are there.
if the yeah, but they might not be there. They might be like discovered later as a value-added proposition. In which case, why should they?
Connected to the internet, I wouldn't want that.
They don't necessarily have to be.
But they usually are.
Well, yeah, because people don't want to host themselves, do they? Would you want to host your own server? Would you know how to do it?
No, I just want a lawnmower I could turn on and it could just go up and down and round until it bumps into something and moves on. That's fine.
Kath's in a moany mood tonight. She's very anti-tech, especially stuff which is connected to the internet. But don't worry, it's all good.
Oh, I'm just fed up of signing in. I'm getting on my phone to find a code, or I'm still waiting for that email to come through to be able to.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It's all just pathetic.
Alessa says most tools are now made in China. Pretty much most things, in terms of manufacturing wise, a lot of the raw materials and a lot of the kind of, for want of a better word, the donkey work gets done in China just because it's such cheap labor and cheap to buy stuff there. Stupidly, years and years ago, there was a thing which the UK, America, the EU, I'm sure it's the European Union as well, and other countries as well, all gave China massive tax discounts and tariff discounts to try and allow China to become a kind of a more powerful production place. And it kind of got to the point where it just crept up and crept up and crept up. And there is now, like, pretty much most manufacturing is done in China and very little is done elsewhere. So they kind of hold a lot of the cards. If they suddenly turn around and said, right, we're not going to export anything, a lot of us would suffer. But China is one of those countries where pretty much most of their GDP does actually come from export. So not only would they be hurting us, they would be in some instances hurting themselves as well. So it's all a bit of a greased money wheel between the various different globalist companies. They just funnel the money around in a big circle, and they just hope that, like, they're not the last one when the music stops. But it's a very, very funny place.
They don't need the money, they just don't want you having it.
Yeah. Bosch tools. Yeah, Bosch tools are pretty good. Got some, used some decent Bosch tools. I think all the brands are pretty good. I don't know why.
What was that thing we had at Casualty? That vacuum in it?
Makita.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, we had a Makita vacuum, and that thing was worse than shit. It picked up...
next to fuck all.
Yeah, the exact words of one. I bought it in, and for the prop masters to use to clear up behind themselves, because they never cleared up behind themselves. And one of the prop masters turned around and said, where did you get that vacuum? So I got it from the BBC ordering centre thing. He's like, can you send it back? It's like, why? He goes, because it picks up next to fuck all. It's like, that's a very descriptive thing, Bernie. Thank you very much for your input. And yeah, it basically got left on the back shelf for ever and a day after that because he didn't want to use it because it was pathetic. It was absolutely horrible.
You could stuck on a straw better.
Yeah, it was not awesome. Let's have a look. See, Dak Raptor says Kath is correct. She is sometimes. Senrab, hi Mike and Kath. I'm upstairs late to the party. I set alarm to 8:30 p.m. and nodded. No worries. With the schedule that, yeah, it was all over the place, so no apology is required. You're absolutely fine. So yeah, many things to talk about, and actually something which I haven't seen yet, which I've just seen on my my YouTube feed. Something from Gamers Nexus. From this is a new thing on requiring ID for operating systems, VPN bans, and ID verification, and it's with Wendell. So I will be taking a look at that a little bit later. I get the general gist of it. There has been a lot of talk, like it or hate it, of requiring some form of official ID to actually register your operating system. Now, it doesn't matter if it's Windows, whether it is iOS, or whether it is Linux. It does appear that it is going to be a universal blanket thing, so even open source, not-for-profit stuff, that kind of thing, it looks like everybody is going to be kind of in the same boat. So yeah, going to be interesting to see how that pans out, and obviously how it's going to work. I don't know if it can work, and potentially it could spell the complete kind of destruction of the desktop operating system as we know it. Depends on what happens with mobiles. I think what if the same thing, if they say that a mobile operating system is the same as a desktop operating system, it's going to be a difficult one, because pretty much all of us, to some form or another, if you own a mobile phone, you are somewhat tethered to it in terms of the applications that you've been asked to use on it, such as, for instance, PayPal, eBay, banking applications, your
Hence why they closed all the banks.
what's it
and
called,
dragged it backwards.
the Nest here in the UK for pensions, etc. They're trying to get you to use online applications, and no doubt there's other apps that you've used on your phones, things that you use to do your daily shopping, maybe to order food, to order car parts, to just do shopping. There's apps for everything, and all of those run on an operating system, which they are now looking, they always have done in my opinion, but they're looking to make it so that you have to have your operating system attached to some form of official ID. Now, whether it's something as simple as like your national insurance number here in the UK, your tax number in the US, that sort of thing, everybody on the planet pretty much, when you get to a certain age, you have a kind of a tax reference number, so potentially they could use that.
Sure.
But yeah, there's all sorts of different things they could do. I'm guessing it would be likely be passport based.
Rick H said
But
going back to
it's
the
just-
flip phone, you can't if they got rid of 2G.
Yeah, flip phones don't work anymore because they've turned off the old towers. That is, again, another problem. NHS app, yeah, that's another one. Thank you, Firephone. So yeah, we've hey Diane, how you doing as well?
Have that.
Yeah,
Ugly Bob.
actually, do you want to put that light on now, please? Sorry, we'll put a light on now. So this was a gift from Ugly Bob. God bless him wherever he is. A good old Nokia, is it 3210? I can't even remember the numbers now.
10 or 50.
It might be a 3210 or 3220, I don't know. I'm guessing it says it on there somewhere, but
See?
I'll be damned if I could see it. I think it's been reshelled. It doesn't say, it's got like it's got an extremely generic box with a barcode, and doesn't say anything there. And it doesn't say anything there, so
I can't get
Yeah.
the time on
could be anything. Has anyone got a Nokia charger? If you are old, you will remember that phrase. That used to be something which was echoed around workplaces for a lot of the time during the early 90s. Has anybody got a Nokia charger? Classic, absolutely classic. 3310 says Firephone.
But you can't use it because they got rid of 2G.
Oh, it's under battery. Take the back cover off. Gunnar says, oh my god, I got one, I have a few. Those all things are great, but the trouble is now, you can't really get a SIM card that actually works in them, because the 2G and the 3G masts mostly have turned off here in the UK. I think 3G masts were turned off officially last summer, possibly. There might be the odd few that are still running, but it's mostly now 4G and 5G towers which are still operational. So yes, it's a bit of a strange one. Dax got one here for a 6310. Dave Underhill says, I have a Australian government ID, a linked tax number, a linked UAV license, a linked Queensland government ID, a linked Supreme Court ID, and a linked digital fire license, and I love them.
Until you get hacked.
You love them up until the point that you lose them, or they get taken from you. That's when any form of license becomes not as nice. There's a very old kind of thing that as human beings, as free humans, which we are clearly not, but as a free human being, you should really have the right to be able to do whatever you want. It is your life, it is your planet, it is your house, it is your land, it is whatever it is.
You've registered it to the
But
government.
you don't really own any of it. We are all in a massive, basic, open prison. which sounds really weird when you say it, but if you think about it, we actually are. And in fact, some of the people in prison probably get less harsh treatment than we do because they get things for free. We have to actually work to get the stuff we get. So it's very weird. It's a very physiological. It's a very psychological, or what's the word I'm looking for? You know, it's one. It's not psychological. It's psycho. No, it's not psycho. It's I can't think what the word is. It's where you kind of think about something and see all the sides of it and try and debate it and see what it's all about. I can't think what the word is. It's gone. Oh dear. Anyway, so yeah, weird things happening in the industry in general. The industry seems to be taking a nosedive. All of us are waiting with bated breath for the AI bubble to burst, and it is going to be soon as it starts happening. I know you lot, much like me, will probably be sat in front of your computer watching the stock tickers with a big thing of popcorn or beverage of your choice, and just watching as they just all the shares just go plummet towards the deck and below. And I'm tempted to go and buy some fireworks for when it happens.
But then the banks will all crash, and then they're bail in.
It's going to be a funny old time. Philosophical. Thank you, Mickey Woods. That is the word I was looking for. Philosophical. Gunnar says AI ain't gonna burst. I don't know. They can't keep spending money they don't have or haven't earned yet. On paper, they may be worth a lot of money. It's like anything. Like a company is worth what the bank think it's worth based on the shares they have and how much those shares are currently trading for. If people get a little bit twitchy and they start selling off those shares, it will spark a little fire under the investors, and they will all shit themselves, because there is so much money tied up in AI and the infrastructure for AI, and also the companies which are providing the infrastructure for AI, that it is like a really shaky house of cards. Because at the moment, none of them are actually making like real proper money. At the moment, it's just a big circle. So they're taking money from one place, paying another, they're paying another, they're paying another, they're paying it back to them, and it's all going around in a massive circle, or like dotting around from company to company. So it's just transferring of wealth at the moment. It isn't actually generating a massive amount of income, because a lot of people don't really want to pay for it. And the people that are paying for it are generally businesses who think that it's a great idea and should be at the forefront of the technology. So they're investing more money to something which is still very much unproven. And also as well, if you've ever used AI for anything actually really practical, it's rubbish in general, unless you pay for the service. I've done it again this week, messing around with Gemini, messing around with Copilot. They are both absolutely horrendous. For simple questions like how long is it likely for the milk to take to go off in a 23°C degree kitchen, they'll give you a reasonable answer which you could take or leave it. But if you start asking it to actually do things or create code,
like me set an alarm
yeah,
for 40 minutes,
it's absolutely,
and it set one for midnight.
yeah. This week we asked it to set an alarm for 40 minutes when Kath was having her hair done, and it said setting an alarm for midnight. No idea.
And it's set on my old phone.
Also, when it comes to things like creating images, now to be fair, sometimes they do really well. And some of you saw the image which was created on our Discord, which I posted on Facebook as well, of me with the new bag, the new drawstring bag, which it isn't $19.99, by the way. That was Dave taking a little bit of artistic license on it. But sometimes it can be quite fun to use AI to make funny pictures and make pictures of cats chasing alligators and things like that. But to actually make it do real world stuff is actually really hard and doesn't generally work very well. In fact, you only have to look at some of the main people behind AI, such as Microsoft, for one, who are investing ridiculous amounts of money into things like ChatGPT, OpenAI, etc. And you can tell they're using AI to code Windows updates. More and more and more, it's happening. NVIDIA are using AI to create new drivers. And we all know what NVIDIA drivers are like recently. It's just a joke.
NVIDIA the one put data centers on people's houses.
Yeah. Dave Aiken says, we use Claude Professional, bloody amazing, transformed how we work, created apps, created a sales pipeline, reviewed legal docs and amends in Chinese, etc. Would pay double for it if we have to. See, that is it. And that is where they're going to have everybody, because they are going to drip feed you the AI at a somewhat reasonable cost until you get to the point where you rely on it. And then the prices will start creeping up. And then the staff cuts come, and then you find your AI company running itself, essentially, to some extent. It's just so obvious that that is what is going to happen. It's happened so many times before. Anything which is good, which has come out, which has been widely adopted, becomes expensive and forces people that don't have the money out of it. It's so much going to happen. Dak says AI has not delivered. The investors want their money back. The problem is there are too many AI companies trying to outdo each other in the USA. None of them want to lose out as they have spent money. That is true. That is true. There's a lot of money tied up in it. And at some point, somewhere, investors are going to turn around and say, we'd kind of like a return on our investment. And there's only so many times that the board can turn around and say to the investors, well, we've done this, this, and this, but the next 3 years is looking great. And then that 3 years becomes 5 years, and it just goes on and on and on. And it is going to happen. I will almost personally guarantee it. There's been way too much investment. There isn't enough money in the market to pay for what they're trying to do. The money isn't there. Firephone says, Mike, remember Enron? Yes. The Firephone says, what's it? And we're paying taxes for all this. Yeah. Sky says, you started early. Sorry. Late. Yeah. I did ping on the Discord. I don't know what it is, the Discord. I did a ping to everybody, but it didn't seem to make the noise that it normally does. And it's done that twice today. Don't know what's going on. Anyway. It's probably an AI glitch. Letter says there are a lot of AI and data centers being built here in Ohio. David Thompson's nice. How you doing, David Thompson? Good to see you. Des says apparently they have just put up prices for GDR6 and GDR7 board partners again. Yes, and there's very early indication that the next kind of stable price for DDR5 is going to be £200 here in the UK for 16 gigs and £400, or well, between £350 and £400 for 32 gigs. That seems to be the way it's going at the moment. There's one or two suppliers who have already indicated that's going to happen. There are some companies which we kind of deal with, doing reviews for, etc. And there's been sort of not confirmation, but discussion that these things are looking like it's going to be a thing. There was, I think, 2 or 3 months ago, some other companies said there is going to be another kind of doubling of the pricing before the end of the year. So at the moment, I think it's for, it was about about 260. I think it was 270 for 32 gigs at the moment. But that started to increase to like over 300, and it looks like it's going to be basically 400 plus with it. Well, probably maybe before the end of the month, maybe into August, but it's happening. And the prices at the moment are insane. Like, we were paying somewhere, if you got a bargain, about 60 to 70 quid for 32 gigs of RAM a year ago. And the normal kind of ballpark price, if you paid £100 for 32 gig kit, you were okay. Like, if you got it less than 100, it was a deal. If you paid over 100, it had to be like a premium kit or a low latency or a very fast mega transfer, or just RGB or Corsair. Theirs is normally quite expensive. Yeah, so going from roughly kind of like about £100 on average to essentially it's going to be £400 for 32 gigs of RAM, DDR5. And I thought it was bad at 200. It's not looking good. And even on eBay at the moment, 32 gigs of used DDR5 RAM, nothing particularly elaborate, anywhere between sort of £225 to like £300 for used kits. Eek. It's not great. Just looking at. Semarab says, yeah, apparently AMD and NVIDIA are not shipping memory chips with GPU chips to builders of GPUs. Yeah, that has been a thing for a couple of months now, I think. Always a bad way to be. Tony says, question for all. Is Linux okay for PC gaming? I just swapped over to AM5 PC and now Microsoft have ignored my old AM4 PC. My license is legit, but they refuse to acknowledge it. Now I'm stuck with a... Where's the rest of that question? There's nothing left. Realistically, if that is the case, just get yourself a premium CD keys license. I'll give you a link there in the chat. You'll get a Windows license for like less than £3, or just use it unlicensed. If you like using Windows, like being kind of like using Windows, if you're used to using Windows and you wish to carry on using Windows, then a £3 license to make it legit is much better value than, I would argue, learning Linux or learning which distribution of Linux you actually need to use for your particular needs. That for me is the problem. Linux is, I wouldn't say it's amazing for gaming, because there's been quite a few reviews recently which I've seen where the actual frame times and the actual FPS actually doesn't really differ massively from Windows. Now, some of that is because there's a translation layer going on, Proton, which is converting the Win32 API into something native for Linux. So there is like a translation thing going on, much like Rosetta does in Windows, in iOS. So I don't think Linux gaming is necessarily the answer. I don't think you're going to get better performance on it, realistically. Not so much that you could do like a night and day thing. Like, there might be the odd game here and there which gets a few FPS more, but it's not going to be transformative. The thing which is going to be transformative is the operating system itself, because obviously you're not going to have, well, at least at the moment anyway, you're not going to have the necessity to have a Microsoft account, an account of any sort. You can just have a local account. But if what they're trying to do by introducing some form of digital ID on an operating system, that then is going to make it so that there is going to be a lot of that stuff going on in the background, much like it already does in Windows, is going to come to Linux. So
who hasn't bought anything on their phone or had a credit card or a debit card linked to their phone?
yeah,
Everyone's done it already.
yeah, we all have digital ID, but for some bizarre reason we think that, like, if we don't have to put a username into our computer, somehow we're better off. Now, I get it. Like, I don't necessarily like using a Microsoft account on my PC. I do on one, I don't on another, just so I can kind of see what the real differences are. And to be honest with you, the differences are minimal. And if you're careful with your data, then you're not really giving away much, because most of it's done in your applications and your browser rather than the operating system itself. So yeah, I understand people's things, and to be fair, it gets views. Anything you do to hate Microsoft gets views on YouTube.
They seem to
Whether
promote it.
YouTube promote it, whether or not it's people are generally interested, honestly don't know. Brytek O9 on his channel, he has got to the point now where any video he does on his channel pretty much tanks, unless he does a video on broken Windows updates, in which case he's got 900,000 subs now, and if he does a video on something like a review of a case or a PC build, he might get 2,000, 3,000 views, which is the sort of numbers that we would get. But if he does a video on a broken Windows update, he'll get 50, 60, 70,000. So it does seem that YouTube are promoting certain content, or it's just of more interest to people. I honestly don't know. It's all messed up. Yes, Cam. Dave Aitken, bloody hell, 32 gigs DDR5 5200 just sold on the eBay bot for 160 quid. Jesus. That is pretty good. Is there a link for that? Have I got a link from a bot? No, they've got a Discord bot. If you also want to get deals, like David just highlighted there, you can head over to our Discord and use the Discord eBay bot. And potentially you can get 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM for 160 pounds. Wow.
Was it Dave that won it?
Yeah. Who won it, Dave? Was it you? Or did you just notice someone get it? Viali says, because Brytek generally talks crap.
Let's move on.
Moving on. I cannot confirm or deny those rumours. Rasher says, does anyone know what Brytek looks like, or is he actually a human? He is a human, and I did know his name. A certain other person told me, and I did have the details. And also, at one point, you could actually look it up using Google's AI. Just who is Brytek O9, and it used to come up, and then you could find out from the company's house listings and stuff. But it depends how interested you really are. But yes, apparently he is a real person. I haven't seen a picture. I didn't click on the link quick enough, and then it kind of disappeared from our chat, because I think the person I was chatting to got a little bit sort of twitchy feet. So yes. Tony says, thanks for that, Mike. Very informative. I'll just buy a new license for £3. It's a no-brainer. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Thank you for helping support us.
Skystalker says you need a Windows 11, but isn't it cheaper to buy 10?
Yeah, if you're looking at buying Windows 10 or 11, just buy Windows 10. Windows 10 activation codes work in Windows 11. So don't pay extra for Windows 11, whatever you do. Just pay for Windows 10. I shouldn't be saying that, because we do earn a very small commission, but the commission is so small that I really don't care. So I'd rather that you actually got a better deal. Already do. Brytek generally has some decent Windows tips and helpful guides. He is plainly anti-Linux and lost my subscription due to the recent lies concerning Linux. You don't have to like it, but don't lie. Well, that's interesting. I always got the opinion that he actually doesn't mind Linux too much as an operating system. What I think is the key to it, and it's probably the same for a lot of us in the YouTube community, is the fact that we've kind of built our channels and our livelihoods on Windows. So as soon as there is something else coming along which could potentially upset that balance, it's a little bit of a concern. And with all the best will in the world, there's that subconscious bias against a product which is going to potentially disrupt your earnings or your cash flow.
That's why we hate AI.
That's why we hate AI, yeah. I think that is a genuine bona fide concern. Now, realistically, if it came to it, we as YouTube content creators, we could just make content on Linux, like how to set up a user account, or how, like loads of channels have done how to install Linux videos. And I think because of the amount of stuff going on in the PC market, especially when Windows did the TPM thing, or the Windows 10 came to like the end of its life, that was then definitely when Linux videos became more in vogue. People wanted to watch it, or people were just interested to do it. So yeah, it was that was one of those big shifts in the kind of the mentality. Because the thing is, realistically, like it or not, myself and you watching, you are consumers. And even by watching me or watching your other favorite content creators, whether you like it or not, you are influenced by what creators say. And if enough creators say the same thing, you will end up believing it, whether it's true or not. It's cognitive dissonance, I think is the word they call it. And basically, is if you're told the same thing enough times by enough people, even if you know the truth is different, eventually you will believe what everyone else is saying. It's very, very powerful marketing. And that's why companies use YouTubers to market stuff, because they know it's very, very powerful. And yeah, again, as Kath says, news channels. That's why news channels are like super important, and people will just sprout up news channels all the time because they are amazing propaganda machines, much like YouTube is.
They can lead you where they want you.
Dax says, Mike, we are the products. We are all the products. Now, whether it's me talking to you through this camera, whether it's you going into your place of work, talking to your colleagues in the office about something you've seen or something you've done, we are all basically selling stuff all the time. Now, generally we do it with goodness in our heart and integrity, and try and kind of show people positive experiences and share those. But otherwise, there's people that basically just want to make money and will tell you something because they know they're going to make money from it. And unfortunately, those aren't always that obvious. But yeah, I guess it is what it is. Jim says, late. Doesn't look like I missed much. No, you didn't miss anything. It's fine. Sinister Chef's here. Good to see you. Overclockers are selling a Trix Stage 360 RGB white all-in-one cooler for $139.99, says Greg. Is that a good deal? Do you know what? At the moment, it's really, really hard to tell what is a good deal and what isn't. Because things like the Trix Stage 360, I think when it came out it was like £300+ pounds. But, well, there's two sides to this story. The first one is the fact that a lot of the products that you buy and like and watch on YouTube, most of them are vastly overpriced because there's so many people in the supply chain that all need to make their money on it. So there's massive markups on pretty much everything. On the flip side, actually, where was I going with this? I forgot my train of thought now. Is it a good deal? No, it's not really. Aesthetically, yes, it probably is pretty good. But in terms of is it a good deal? Well, the fact is, it's a 360mm AIO cooler. You could realistically just go and buy, like I did recently, one of these, the Thermalright Frozen Prism or the Edge or whatever they are. There's hundreds of different versions of this 360mm AIO, and all of them are around about sort of 30 to 50 quid-ish for just a basic AIO 360mm. And the reality is, even from the worst 360mm AIO to the very best AIO, in most testing, there's probably only maybe a 6 to 10 degree spread between best to worst. So if you're saying this is in the kind of the £30 category, the Trix 360 is in the £300 category. Is it 10 times better than this?
It's only once she's growing at the cats in.
I can't, sorry. That's what I'm saying. Like, clearly the Trix isn't going to be 10 times better. It's not going to have 10 times the cooling efficiency of this. because it is ultimately a 360mm radiator with 120mm fans. There's only a certain amount of thickness and fan thickness and noise and power that you can put through it to actually cool a CPU. Most of the problems with the CPU cooling is actually transferring the heat from the core actually into the water or the fluid. That's the biggest problem that most people are facing. So that's your kind of stumbling block straight away. Now, of course, if you want daisy chainable fans, if you want magnetic connection fans, if you want fans which do all kinds of crazy lighting, or you want an LCD screen on your AIO, then of course you're going to have to pay for that privilege. It then comes down to how much do you want to pay for that privilege because it works for you or it suits your build or whatever. So in terms of is it worth it? No, clearly it's not worth it. But if it's worth it to you, then it is, if that makes sense. Now, to take another kind of slant at it, there are a lot of other brands which are doing that sort of thing now. Even Thermalright themselves are doing, is it Trofeo or Trofeo? I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but they do a Trofeo, which is basically like they do, I think, a 6-inch, a 7, 9, and an 11-inch screens, some of which can be mounted onto AIOs. And they do them at some incredible pricing. Also, people like Thermaltake, the one we've got on the back there with the screen on. That's not the most elaborate screen, but it does the job. That's a 360mm AIO.
Even a letter's gone back to air cooler.
Those are down to like £130 now. They were sort of £250. So every manufacturer is having a bit of a kind of a big think about why can we not sell stuff, because, well, people aren't building systems, so they need to sell it at a cheaper price to make people want to upgrade.
And the letter says she's gone back to air cooling. No more custom looping or AI.
A letter has gone back to air cooling. Who would have thunk it? In 2026, the water-cooled Queen of Ohio has gone back to air cooling. How mad. Not something which you would that wasn't on my bingo card for tonight. It really wasn't. Dax says the used PC market is on fire right now. The new PC market is old. Now, between you, me, and the gatepost, I have got some things which have been sent to me from MSI to take a look at. And one of which is a pre-built PC, which I don't know how I feel about pre-built PCs, but then if you look at an MSI pre-built PC, it's using a pretty much off-the-shelf case, off-the-shelf motherboard, off-the-shelf RAM, off-the-shelf cooler, off-the-shelf SSD, off-the-shelf power supply. I think that's it. Basically, it's just lots of things that MSI do all in one box. So yeah, I'm not too sure how I feel about it. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet because I still am not sure how it works out in my head and how I'm going to go about reviewing it. Whether I do it, like, how well does it perform, or can I buy or build better for the same money? I don't know. It's a strange one. And also, how much value do you put on a PC actually being built for you, ready to plug in, and also having like a few years warranty on it? That's a really difficult thing to actually put a price on, I think. Most people, like in the kind of used PC sales market, or even some businesses,
Like
they say like £100.
Chris Hartford says, deals are frustrating.
Deals are frustrating.
Seen some great AM5 Mobo deals, but what can I do about the RAM and NVMe?
Exactly. Yeah, there are some really good deals out. Rasher says, I like AIO because they are less bulky than air coolers and have cool OLED stroke LCD displays. Well, you are going to love the PC that we're going to end up building in this O11 Dynamic Mini V2, which I think we should probably actually get out the box and take a look at, because I think everybody who's going to be in is in. And yeah, I will say, actually, in full disclosure before we start this case I've actually requested from Lian Li to do a review on. It came out about 6 months ago. I think possibly even more than that. So the case has been out for a little while. When it first came out, I was quite interested, but there was a few things about it which I was unsure of. And because it was that weird time of the year, sort of April, May, it's like, it just kind of went to the back of my mind. So we've done a few things with Lian Li recently. And so I thought I'll just message him, say, look, I'm interested in this case. Is there any chance you can just send me one so I can take a look at it? Like, is that cool? I know it's not in the kind of review cycle, but you never know. If you don't ask, you don't get, do you? So I figured that is exactly what I would do. And, oh, sorry, I'm getting a message there from someone. That's Angel, sorry. Yeah, so they sent it to me at the goodness of their own hearts, and they haven't asked me to say anything. They've not asked me to do anything. They've just said, here's a case. Please do whatever you like with it.
What's your big mat made from?
A big mat, rubber, I think. Yeah, it's a rubber backing. I don't think we have. We used to have links for that. They are from Technically Stable. You can basically have anything you want printed on there. You can use the Mike's Unboxing logo if you want to. It's on our Discord. You're more than welcome to download it and add it to your basket when you order your pads. But yeah, Technically Stable. I think they got some deals on at the moment. Not entirely sure how good the deals are, but you're more than welcome to try it. You can get a small discount. Put the discount code Mike's Unboxing during checkout, and yeah, you get a little bit off. No, I think we took it out. Dak says, I like Lian Li, they make quality stuff. They do. And actually, going back to what I was discussing just now about AIO coolers and like stupid money, let's look at stupid money. Oh, if I can get this off the... So part of the reason why this case is here is because I want to use this. And I want to use it in something which looks absolutely banging. So this is the OLED curve from Lian Li, which you've probably all seen in the reviews and that. It's got some really cool wireless fans on there. It's got the OLED screen, which moves up and down and rotates and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very cool. It's literally for showcase PCs. This is where if you basically just don't care how much things cost, but you want it to look awesome, or you think it looks awesome, then this is the way to go. It's basically got the best of everything. But the case that they sent this out for it to be reviewed in was the Vision M, which had that weird basement at the top, which made it so that this was all enclosed, so you couldn't actually see the fans or the radiator without taking out the panel, which I thought looked a little bit weird. It didn't quite work for me how I wanted it to work. So, hence why I said to Lian Li, can you send me the O11 Mini Mark II or V2? Because the V1 was actually very interesting, but the V1 could only take a SFX power supply, which kind of ruined it for me, because I don't want to spend a load of money on an SFX power supply unnecessarily, especially when it's like still 45 litres in size. It's not exactly a small form factor PC, it's just a smaller ATX PC. So this is going to be ending up in that case because it's got a proper 360mm shelf at the top to put a cooler in. It's just going to look nicer in there, in my opinion. Obviously, I haven't done the build yet, so I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but it should look pretty banging. So that is what it's going to go with. Banging cans, yeah. And again, truthfully, realistically, the cooling performance of that cooler is not massively different from the Thermalright for like a tenth of the price, but there are some things which are obviously more impressive, such as the flexibility of installation, the hydro shift, basically removing the cables from view. Also wireless fans. The fans are much faster, much quieter, much nicer looking, etc, etc. Obviously the OLED screen is a large part of the cost and the complexity and all that. So yeah, it's a very different beast. It's like going from a Skoda to a Rolls-Royce. Skoda's going to get the job done, just a Rolls-Royce is going to look a whole lot nicer doing it, and is going to be a more comfortable, quieter ride. And that analogy is perfect for budget versus premium AIOs, I think. Right, let's drink some fluids, said Bonnie Blue. Ashley Strachan made me laugh there. God, love a good sausage, me. I just read it completely out of context. David Underhill says, my two main PCs use Lian Li cases. Number one is the Lancel 217 wood. Number two is the O11 dynamic. Now, also, I potentially might go with an O11 dynamic because it's just that proper old school fish tank vibe, which I like. So, we'll see. The Bronc 9 says, why was I taken off membership? If you got it free, you only get it for a month. If you're paying for it, it may have been because your payment method has been declined or something, or an expired card, that sort of thing. I'm not in any knowledge that it's been done deliberately. So, yeah, if it's a paid membership, then yeah, that's possibly why. Take a look at your bank details, make sure the payments are gone out if you are paying for it. If it's a freebie, then yeah, it's only a month you get it for. Gentleman Bad Boy says, I don't think she drinks fluids, sadly. Speaking of which, time for a little bit of fun. Just before we take a look at the case. Now, honestly, this was fun. You will like this. Not a lot, but you'll like it. Open up another tab in your browser and go to Google Translate and turn your speakers up as well.
Paid member.
I was a paid member. Okay. I'm not sure, Bronc. I will have a look and see what has gone on there. If you look at your memberships in YouTube, it should say what the problem was or where it's been declined. But I'll have a look here as well, see if we see it. So, open up a new tab, go to Google Translate, and we are translating between English in one side and French in the other. So, in the English side, I want you to type in, I've got to get this right, the words 50, 10, and then the word Hull, as in the city of. So Hull. So when you've got it, it should be 3 words showing in the English side. 50, Fifty, then the word 10, Ten, and then the word Hull, Hull. And make sure you set the secondary language to be French, and then press on the play button. And you will hear something quite funny.
Put it in the chat what you hear.
Yeah. Let me know what you hear in the chat. Aletta says, I often need a translator from UK English to US English. Yeah. $50.10 Hull. Yeah, translate that to French. $50.10 Hull. That is right, isn't it? Oh, for God's sake, it's making me do it myself now. Make sure I haven't got it wrong.
We wrote it down.
I know. Let's go Google Translate.
That's so childish.
I thought we'd have some fun. Should have known better.
Sign name cuff in Snapchat reversed.
So 50.10 Hull. And translation into Français. Why is that not working?
Did you try it before yourself?
No.
Or did you just watch a video?
I heard it, someone doing it on a video, and I thought, that's
I know,
funny.
but you can't believe any videos you watch. You have to test things.
Ah. That's the one. Right. That's this is lost in translation by me. So you want to write the number 50, then the number 10, then the word hull. So 50 space 10 10 space then hull, and then it'll work. And actually, I wonder if I can do it with 5. 5 might work better. 510. Yay! Do that. Do 5, the number 5, then 10, then hull. That works.
Do the taxi.
No. Can you hear that? I'll get closer to the speakers if I can see it. Oh, actually, I'll just turn the volume up. Can I turn the volume up? No, I can't. I've got crap speakers. Here we go. Oh dear. Fortunately, I'm not here all week. Oh dear. Anyway, O'Reilly says she just wants us to hear the cock. Yeah, I know. I can't believe I managed to mess that up so badly. My apologies. Anyway.
Has anyone got Snapchat?
No.
Finding
David Underhill says, so I am freezing watching childish school kid jokes. Unfortunately, yes. Could be worse. You could be watching Prime Minister's Question Time. That is considerably worse. So let's get the case out and have a close look at the O11 Dynamic Mini V2. We have an accessories box. Very exciting. I shouldn't be doing all this bending over and lifting, really. I did actually do my back in again yesterday. Stupidly, and I did it in the most pathetic way as well. I resolved the conflict in the most pathetic way. Yeah. I was helping my daughter give her car a wash. Because it was one of those weird days where I actually knew I had to do some work. It was rather hot and sweaty, and I thought, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have some quality time with my daughter, clean the car, get some sunshine, get a little bit of exercise. What could possibly go wrong? And I will show you the exact movement I did to do my back in. I still don't quite understand it. Hopefully I won't do it again. In theory, I shouldn't. Right, there's the case. Oh, God. So, I was chamoising down the car using the microfiber, getting rid of the water spots. And literally, I stood up and I had this, and I kind of twisted it, and I just went like that a few times. And I really just like, squeezing the water out of like you would with a chamois. And as I did that, I felt something rip in my back, like like when you trap a nerve, and you go, oh fuck, and it like really jolts through you. I did that, and then
what were you thinking?
it was spasming.
What did you resolve?
I was thinking that Andy Hicks is going away on another bloody holiday, because I was literally just finished speaking to him. Andy Hicks, our neighbour. He is quite a character, and he's always on foreign holidays. And he is an absolute piss artist. He loves it. I've never known someone drink so much. Then maybe I don't really know many drinkers, to be fair. So
I don't know anyone.
Yeah, we don't really know many people at all.
They
Anyway,
open the tab for me on here.
No. Oh, Kath's working on the laptop just next to me. Hello. She's gonna flash me now.
I don't know what I'm.
Better not reflecto porn. Oh,
You're not sitting on my keyboard, maybe.
Maisie's woke up. Mike, any Spanish? I'm afraid not.
Who's for Bibi?
boobies on a calculator. That's a good one. Aletta says, you people are wearing out my yes show chat button. Washing a car, weird. Mine only gets washed when it rains. Well, that's the way Angels works, really.
That's the way mine works.
Yeah. No, it's not. I always do it.
I don't have to. I don't expect it.
Anyway, moving on. So this is the Lian Li. Let me put the other light on, actually.
I thought you said you'd sign me in.
I signed, yeah, into YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says sign in.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
I just signed. What are you doing? What are you in bloody Edge for?
I don't know. I asked, did you leave it on there?
Jesus. You know, on YouTube or Studio?
YouTube, isn't it?
We can use either. Hi, Mabes. Right, sorry, I do apologise. Right, let's have a look in the accessories box first of all. There's some pretty cool accessories in here. So you actually get a user manual, which is actually quite good. In this case, is really flexible. So if some of you don't know, which maybe you don't actually, because this case is a little bit of a bit of a weird one. It's a bit of a basket case in terms of PC cases. So it's roughly 45 litres in capacity, which is actually pretty small. It takes a full-size ATX regular motherboard. Maisie, do you want to go there? Go on then. Jump up. Go on then. Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh dear.
Go in.
Mate.
Stand on the keyboard.
Here, Maisie, there's your box. Maisie, look at that box. Wow. Exciting. Sorry. So this case takes full-size ATX or normal ATX size motherboards. It also takes micro ATX motherboards, but you've also got the option or the ability to do a little bit of shifting around of that whole scenario. So you don't with ATX, but if you're using a micro ATX motherboard, you have the option of either shifting the motherboard up or down about an inch, top or bottom. So in the standard configuration, it's kind of towards the top. So you've got ample room for AIOs, but if you wanted to give you a little bit more choice or flexibility, or if you want to use a bigger, thicker rad, or maybe some sort of push-pull configuration, you can actually drop the entire motherboard down about an inch. So that gives you a load of room on the bottom, which is pretty cool. What's Viali saying there? No video. Oh, bloody...
Showing on there.
No, it's not.
Oh, not on there. On there.
Sorry. Kath's using the laptop and she must have knocked the cable.
My fault.
It's a shit cable.
Why is working?
Or it might have been Maisie. Let's see if we can reboot.
I'll take the blame. I'm not. I don't know how to turn them in yet.
Yay! There we go. Sorry about that. No video, no picture. Thank you. Sorry. Are we back now? Hi. We good?
Right. I've missed any of that chat now.
Don't worry. Yeah, we're back. Okay. Right.
We've got to do the...
So.
They've done all this members stuff a minute.
Yeah, they're just saying that there's no signal.
I know, but it's still members.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm not going to be able to do this very well. It's sharing going.
This is what we have to work with. So thank you, members. And thank you for using your member chats. You do get flashy lights for that. David's been a member now for 32 months.
Oh.
And who was that? Who was there 58 months? Is that?
I think that was Rasher.
Rasher.
But my chat's not working on... Well, it's working, but it's cut off since I moved on to here.
Rasher. No picture. So thank you for that. Sorry. Blame wife. Typical man response. Yeah.
I'll take the blame. I'm not.
Kath don't mind. Can you start over? Video's upside down now. It's not. You bloody bastards. Right. So, ATX motherboard goes in, no problem at all. Also, if you want to put micro ATX, you can shift it basically from the top and down about an inch, which is pretty cool. And it's actually, the mechanical way they've done it is actually pretty interesting. At least I think it is anyway. So if you're, I know for us in the UK, micro ATX is a little bit of a kind of, no one's really interested. In the UK, historically, micro ATX motherboards don't sell very well at all. They generally all end up in like pre-builds. That is where most of the micro ATX boards in this country actually end up. Very rarely do people go out and like specifically buy one, unless they're kind of stuck on choice or they just deliberately want one, but it's an extremely small segment of the market. Anyway, with that said, so ATX you can have full size, micro ATX, a little bit of shiftability. Also, in the accessories box, now I must say as well, this case is actually quite cheap at around about £70 here in the UK. It's been fluctuating a little bit, but I think 74 I saw it for last. And it comes in both black and white as well. So either option there. It also comes actually with this really nifty vertical mounting kit for your GPU. So if you want to go vertical, you can do. And it comes with a bracket, which just can be swapped in and swapped out very easily. There's also a GPU bracket inside for supporting it, which you can probably see there, just kind of raised up. Obviously, if you're in vertical mode, then that isn't going to quite work the same way. So they actually include in the packaging this very cool design. So this takes the assumption, rightly or wrongly, that you're going to put fans at the bottom of your case. This actually sits down here. Actually, let me take the front panel off. Actually, I'll show you that later. So it sits on in between two fans, and basically it kind of moves up and down. So the fans are on a slope at the bottom. So you move this up or down, and then you twist the screw, and it kind of just raises that leg in the middle, he says. It's very tight. I don't want to move. Have I broken it already? Oh no, there we go. So yeah, you just turn that and the leg extends. So depending on where your graphics card actually kind of sits, you can just raise or lower that. And depending where it is, obviously you can move that as well. So yeah, I just think it's pretty cool that they've really thought about what is going on in this case and just included this, even though, like, to be honest with you, £70 roughly for a case is actually pretty cheap, isn't it? I know it's not cheap, but like whenever you watch things like Gamers Nexus or even like Kit Guru and things like that, generally they consider like $100 to be like an entry level case. Now I personally don't. I generally consider the entry level price for a case to be about 30, 40, maybe £50. I think that is more than enough for a case, especially when you think like back in the day, as much as we like to think about it, a kind of an entry level half decent gaming PC would be about £500 to £600. So if you think 10% of the budget is on the case at about £50, I think that's pretty fair. Like, yeah, of course, if you want to get a much nicer case, go for it. But anyway, that's my thoughts. Also, as per usual with Lian Li cases, if you've never bought one before, I think almost all of them now come with these parts boxes, which I'm struggling to get into for some reason. It's been a very, very long week. That's right, I got it. I wasn't going to give in.
You could use your Swiss Army wife.
Swiss Army wife. So you get this little compartmentalized tray, and also a thank you as well for purchasing Lian Li. I didn't purchase it, I was given it, but the effect is the same. You get rubber mounts as well for hard drives, get all the screws and things that you could ever possibly need in there. And then of course you can lay them out in your little box. So should you want to do any upgrades at a later date, you've got all of your screws to hand. And yeah, it's nice. Thanks, Mabes.
Maybe.
Go and sit on your box.
You want to sit in your box?
Anyway, there you go. That is the accessories box, which we will no doubt be looking at again shortly. Maisie, your paw print doesn't activate my phone, I'm sorry to say. Oh, look at that, Mabes. That's good, isn't it? You've got special stuff there. Right then, this actually, oh God, that's heavy. It has got some quality construction here. Problem with cases is bulky shipping from China. If they created a flat pack standard, it would be cheaper. Yeah, it's not a bad idea actually. So it is a somewhat typical. Is that Angel? Oh no! Thank you very much. We got a PayPal donation from Stuart Cleary. Thank you very much for £32.72. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And is there going to be a message with it? Let's see if there is a message. Show me the massage.
Go in emails.
I'm in emails. There we go. The redress. No, there's no message in there.
1000%.
1000%. There is no message there that I can see. 100,000%. Thank you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, sir. So the V2, the V1 was very, very similar in a lot of respects, but they've actually made a few decent changes to the V2. One of which, like I said earlier, this now supports ATX power supplies rather than just being SFX, which is, I thought at the time, was a bit of a stupid idea, the original Mini, because I really liked the idea of it, but I thought SFX power supply is just not for me at all. Also, the way they implemented the ability to move the motherboard up and down was a very convoluted affair in the V1. There was about like 7 or 8 different pieces you had to move to actually make it work, which again for me just felt like a little bit of an afterthought. But they've done it a little bit cleaner on this, which is nice. But in terms of the dimensions, it's extremely similar. I think the original Mini was a couple of millimeters difference, like about 10 millimeters less width, about 5 height, and I think that's very similar. It's about 40. It was, I think the first one was 44 litres. This one's like closer to 45, so it's kind of within pissing distance, so to speak. Anyway, let's take out the thing. So side panel, thumb screw, captive, of course. This is Lian Li, not your cheap tin pot stuff, and that just pulls out as you would expect, and it's held in place. There's like little lip edges there, which attach to the bottom there. Nice thick glass as well.
We'll see about that when you wheel into it.
Yeah, when I smash into it later, it'll be multiple pieces of very nice glass. So with that out of the way, again, you can see inside some interesting highlights from me. You've got on the bottom here, you've got the angled section for your fans. So this is actually got a 10-degree slope on it. And the reason they've done that is because they found that if they have the fans flat, dead flat, they kind of hit off the graphics card and then kind of swirl around each side of the graphics card. Whereas just a 10-degree slope on the fans, just a slight offset, actually makes it so that the majority of the air goes into the fan blades and kind of circulates in the fan as it should do. And the rest of it kind of goes up the glass and then cools the outside edge of the GPU and then kind of swirls back in towards the motherboard area and then ultimately gets exhausted out the top. So the chimney effect is far more efficient just with a very slight 10-degree slope on it, which personally I wouldn't have thought it would have made hardly any difference at all, but apparently science, and yes, it does. Also, there is a really nice way of actually getting into it in terms of, like, when you're putting the fans in the case, not all of you really want to be kind of fiddling around inside there, especially if you lack physical dexterity. So there's 2 screws on the bottom, so you can just loosen those 2 screws. And the fan frame comes out in its entirety. So this is going to be good for either maintenance, if you're doing your regular maintenance, cleaning the fan filters. The fan filter pops out the side, just in case you're wondering. So there is a very nice open breathable plastic mesh filter. These are really good, I like those a lot. They always work very well, in my opinion. Let's try and slot that back in. It's a shame, really, it didn't come out the front as well as the back. That would have been quite nice if it did. And it does take a little bit of a ding to actually push it into place, but again, great, does its job. You don't have to use that mesh or the filter or this bit if you don't want to. There are actually mountings directly on the bottom of the case. Actually, if we take that all the way out, so it does give the option there. There is some kind of mounting sections you could possibly mount fans into if you wanted to kind of jerry rig it. I thought there were better holes than that on the bottom actually, but I guess it's just some way of actually getting more airflow through. But anyway, whatever. That's cool. So yeah, fan mounting frames, you put your fans on there. If you're going for some sort of open loop system that Aletta won't be doing anymore, you could put a radiator on the bottom up to a 360. It's not going to be 140s in there, so it's 120s pretty much everywhere other than the roof. You can put 140s in there.
Rough.
The roof. Another slightly interesting thing, which is going to be beneficial to probably about 5 people, this bit at the bottom. So there's this big rubber opening at the bottom, and that is for your PCI Express cards for the power. And if you're going to be using one of the Lian Li streamers or streamer or whatever you call it, basically the things which go up with all the lights on. So because there's not enough room to kind of bend the cable there, they actually put this kind of rubber bit at the bottom so it can actually dip down through there just to give you a little bit more flexibility. Hence why I said in the title, this case is like very, very flexible. PJ Simpkins, can a B850 Aorus Elite work in this case because the GPU slot is above the SSD tray? That is a good question. Yes, it should do. Maybe it won't. There is going to be some issues with some motherboards, and actually I'll put a motherboard in here shortly just to have a look at that. I would need to see the board itself really and where the actual screws line up, because that is one of the things which has made this a little bit questionable for some people for upgrades. Because if you put an ATX motherboard in here, not all ATX motherboards do actually fit properly. There's the GPU riser bracket, by the way. So that just attaches to the bottom of the case, and that's very simple. It's on a thumb screw, and you can just raise it and lower it however you see fit, or just remove it if it's in the way. Your graphics card maybe not that big, you can move it. It will move up to kind of about there. Potentially you could put it further, but you'd have to remove that rubber mesh or kind of mount on top of it, which is probably not ideal. So you can take it as long as there, and I think that is about the last place it'll go there. So yeah, a little bit of maneuverability on there, should you need it. Where, for me, there's a couple of oddities, which I kind of understand, but also not entirely keen on, but I guess it is what it is. So if you're using a normal ATX setup, or just leaving the micro ATX on the top setup, then this bit is fine for putting your cables through. It's weird at the bottom. Sorry, that's protective plastic for the glass when in transit. But there's a bit missing here altogether. So it's like they've gone to the hassle of putting a rubber grommet there, but there's nothing there, which just strikes me as being a little bit odd. I don't quite fully understand it. I understand part of it because this section actually moves. So if I loosen this screw at the top, this section will actually drop down. So now, oh, sorry, I've got to move that screw as well. So this section here, you probably can't see it very well on camera. There is your kind of third pillar for your motherboard. So if you're going to be putting a board in and you want to put it in lower, you just move those pegs down to there, that one down to there, that one. There's nowhere to move it to. So they've made it so that this bit here just slides. So that has now lowered that pin to the correct location. I think that's pretty cool how it does that. Not everyone's going to use it, but I guess it's there. But yeah, I think that's quite neat. But it just means that this bit here is a little bit open. Chances are if you've got a decent sized GPU there, you're never going to see it anyway, but is your screen supposed to be doing that? That might be their end. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool idea. It's different anyway. And that is one thing that Lian Li have never been afraid of trying to do things a little bit differently. Maisie, not on there. I know. Maisie, that is not a place to sit. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Maisie's just type in bruh or something. Yeah, so got a little bit of adjustment there if you want to move it around. I think realistically the majority of people will probably not bother, but it's nice that you've got the option there, and it hasn't drastically increased the price. Although I would be interested to see how much difference that actually made when they were kind of pricing this up in terms of manufacturing, because if they took away the ability to move the motherboard up and down and it took off maybe, I don't know, £10, I think that would be quite a noticeable drop. But anyway, is it finished?
No, it's just talking right the camera.
Right, so hopefully this is all becoming crystal clear and you get the general idea of how this is intended to work. But I'm going to show you the side bit now on, because you're probably thinking, well, if you're moving the motherboard there, how do you move the back? Because obviously you've got your I/O to consider, and you have, because obviously you can move a motherboard up and down, but you have to actually still change where the physical position of the I/O shield is. And they've actually done that in a really cool way. In the previous case, again, there was like, you almost had to be like a mechano expert to work it all out. It was not great. But on this one, they've actually made it pretty simple. So if you're putting your motherboard in, whether it's micro ATX or ATX, this is going to be the kind of default configuration in this location, which is absolutely fine. If you want to drop the motherboard down an inch because you've got micro ATX and you want a bit more room, all you do, push this in, he says. That's in pretty tight. And then put it in the top. And that then shifts your I/O down about an inch. So that drops the motherboard down. Again, I don't particularly envisage a huge amount of people wanting to do that or even needing to do it, but there are definitely some micro ATX boards which have got unusual layouts which may require this. So yeah, that is something that you can do if you wanted to.
Did you answer that question I asked you?
What one was that? Oh yeah, about the motherboard. Yeah, sort of. I can't really answer it.
Good girl, Mabes.
A long time ago, they used to call these MIDI towers. They do.
Right, I think I'm back on fire now.
So that is how that works. Also, for the rear section here, if you want to swap this out and you want to go with the vertical mounting, it's just 4 screws, which is a design which I'm not sure who did this first, whether it was Lian Li or whether it's Thermaltake. Because Thermaltake, I think, have a patented 4-screw kind of design for this. So if you are going to be vertically mounting, it's just a 4-screw backplate.
Simpkins, I don't know if you need to
yes.
The more. Sorry, last one in.
PJ Simpkins, I wanted to upgrade to this case, but the motherboard won't support a top PCI slot. I got him. I'll try my motherboard in a minute, which I don't know if it has got a top one or not. I'll have to check. So obviously if you're doing that, then you can take, I think you can take this bit out as well. I don't think you necessarily need that in there. And you can replace it with, well, actually, yeah, you do use that. Learning as we go. So that would go, let me just get my bearings here. I'll go like so. Ah, that's cool. So there's 3 little holes there. And there's actually 3 little nubbins.
Why is the bottom of the case on the pitch?
Because it's on not an angle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on the mat badly. Sorry, that's my fault. So that goes. I can't see from there. There we go. That locks into there, and then you put your screws there. So put your 4 screws back in, and you put your plastic doodah back in, and yeah, you're all ready to go to mount your GPU in a vertical style if you want to. Now, obviously, for vertical mounting GPUs, for most GPUs, it does actually drop the temperatures a little bit, but some cards are more suited to do it. Some AMD cards, especially 9070 XT, some of them that use liquid cooling, yeah, not a good idea. Anyway, so you got a bit of flexibility there.
It is off the floor, isn't it? The case, if you turn it sideways. John David Sullivan, I think they needed to raise the case off the floor more.
Well, what they've done, because you've got that 2... Actually, well, let me put the screws back in here and I'll show you the bottom so you can maybe understand how the airflow situation works on the bottom. I do agree, though, a slight larger feet might have been a good idea. That is something which Lian Li have been doing a lot recently, like the 216, the 217, the 207. All of them come with like really small feet. And I think the Vector V100 did as well, and the V150 probably. I think the V150 was slightly better. But yeah, I get where you're coming from with that. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a complaint I have, but just a little bit of an oddity.
But I think they think it's touching the complete floor because of the back.
I got you. Yeah.
Across,
So if we have a look at the back of, or the underside of the case. So you can see that is angled, and then you've got a good, well, that's about 1 inch, I think. It's about 28 mil. So yeah, basically it's 1 inch. Yeah, it's 1 inch. So it's 1 inch plus a little bit of rubber. There's the pass-through. And obviously that's the fans on a little bit of an angle. So the front of the fan, or the closest bit to the edge, is actually right on the deck almost. The idea being that the air is going to be kind of pulled in through there. And also there's a little bit of ventilation through this section here. If you wanted to, you could always raise it up a little bit. There's
a bit of chewing gum out the bricks.
A bit of chewing gum or a couple of Lego bricks. You'd be all good.
Lego. Yeah. Floral now. But I think if you stand it on its side, you can see the gap better than what you can like that.
What's that?
If you stand it on its side, you can see the gap underneath it better.
What, like it is there, or?
No, upright.
Like that?
Yeah.
Oh.
You'll be able to see the gap better than what you can when it's...
Yeah, you can see there's got a big gap there. The autofocus is going a bit wonky, but...
Sorry, my...
Why is the autofocus pulsing like that? Why put it in stupid mode? Just put it there. Oh, it might be that light. Okay, right. O'Reilly says, with an inch and a little bit of rubber, that's rather short, small. It's, I don't know, I thought it was okay. Like much higher, I think it'd be a bit weird. Being that the fan's on the inside as well, so the fans on the bracket don't go right to the base of the floor. So there's about that much gap as well. So if you take into account the height you got there and also how much the fans come off of the floor there, they're not going to be choked off of air, which is good. And also, because of where they are, they're not going to be recycling used heat from the GPU.
Yeah, I suppose because you've only shown that other side, haven't you? So
Yeah. Hey, candles.
to the ground on the front.
Right, taking a look in the back, so you can get an idea of obviously what's going to be going on here. So on the side there, you've got the ventilation for side-mounted fans, if you put side-mounted fans in there. And also this section here is going to be where your power supply is going to be. So this is going to be where your power supply can be taking in fresh air straight from the outside world, keeping your power supply nice and cool. And this comes off just with a sort of pull off the side. And you've got, I don't think this filter is removable, I think that's stuck in place, which is a little bit of a, well, I understand why they've done that, because those sometimes can be a bit rattly with turbulence. So the fact they've stuck it in there, yeah, that's fine. And it's a nice fine mesh, so it's going to be doing its job. Nice metal pogo pins and stuff to actually make it fit in there. And also locating dowels as well to keep it all lined up. So that is cool. No issues with that. In the back, so you've got two trays. Unos, dos trays, as they say.
10.
Not 5 and 10 or 50 and 10. I can't believe how much I messed that up. You've got two caddies. Come on. So actually these are surprisingly heavy. I don't think they're going to be as heavy as they are. So, and they're also adjustable. So you can either put in a 3 1/4 in there, or sorry, 3.5 inch drive, and the rubber grommets are in there already for that. Or you can put a 2.5 in there if you want to, and you can kind of adjust it, because obviously some SSDs are slightly smaller than others. There's like a 9mm, 8mm, 7mm, etc. So you've got adjustment on the side, well, all round really. So you can nicely squeeze the drive in there. Or alternatively, if you don't want to use mechanical drives, you can leave this out altogether to give you a bit more room inside. And there are two of these caddies, both of which can take a 3.5 inch or a 2.5 inch drive. So you can put two drives in there. And also you can put another two 2.5 inch drives, either SSDs or mechanical drives, on this bracket as well. So up to 4 drives in a really compact case, which I think is yeah, pretty cool. If you like using older drives, not many people do, but some do. Hello, Maisie.
Come on over this side then.
Go on then. Go on, Babs.
You're not on the keyboard. You have to move it because of the bloody wires. You can't go on it.
Maisie, there's your basket. Go and jump in your bag.
Get in your bag.
There you go. There's your bag. Oh dear. Right. There's that done. So next is going to be the bracket. So if you want to make even more room inside for yourself, you can do by undoing that screw, and you can remove this actually surprisingly chunky piece of metal.
Keyboard.
So that gives you a lot more room in here. Also, you've got loads of cable tie strap down points and Velcro straps in there. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 cable tie down points pre-installed, which is more than you usually get.
I can't really move at the moment because Candid's down there.
Oh dear.
Please.
Bloody cats. Also, the front I/O is also adjustable. So if we undo these straps so we can actually take out the front I/O, the front I/O is actually at the front of the case. But some people probably are okay with it being there, but maybe not. So they've given you the option to move it, because some people would put this on the floor. I probably wouldn't personally, but there are some people that will. So what you can do, yeah, is you can actually relocate it to this top section. So there's a plastic panel there, so you can have your front I/O actually on the top rather than being on the front there. So you've got your combo headset mic jack, 2 USB 3.0 ports. They are 3.0 Gen 3.2 Gen 1. There's color coded white rather than blue. Then you've got your USB Type C, also color coded white, and you've got your power button there as well. So again, if you don't want that at the bottom, you can undo some screws and basically just relocate it to the top section, which again, for some people it might suit. For me, if I was thinking of putting this in this location here, where this case is at the moment, obviously having the IO there is going to be down here, which is going to be a real faff to mess around with. So for me, it would be much better to have it on the top. Also, then I can plug in drives, leave them connected, and not worry about kind of knocking them. So yeah, that is pretty awesome. I like that. What else have we got? Oh, let's move this around a bit more. So this panel comes off as well. If you want to, just lift that off. It's pretty simple. So if you do that, it gives you complete full open access. So when you're doing your build and kind of navigating around what is going on, it's pretty straightforward to do. Top panel, usual deal. Captive thumb screws, nice mesh in there, and that comes out very easily. I don't know if this one is actually removable or not, so I don't think it is. Maybe. No, that one stays in there, so that's going to be a vacuum out job. And on the top you can see room for 360mm radiator, 280s will go in there as well, or 3 120mm fans or 2 140mm fans. So that is, again, also quite good, giving you lots of options. And also this fan frame at the top is also removable. So if you want to fit all your radiator and stuff in and then put it into the case, you can do. There's 2 screws on this end. There are, I think, another 2 on that end and 1 there. So 5 screws, and then that will all come out as well. You can also take out this panel. So when you're in the build process and you're trying to fit through some cables, possibly the rear ones or whatever, then you've got access to there. And also that then gives you access to this port here for transplanting your rear IO. Mike, if you put it at the top, your shelf support would get in the way, surely. Well, no, because this one is actually a lot smaller. So in terms of actual physical height, it's about 3 or 4 inches shorter. Actually, it's probably more than that.
You told me that's 6 inches.
It's closer to 6 inches. It's about, I want to say, about 4.5 inches shorter in height.
You told me that's a good 10.
So, and actually those at the moment, the USBs are right at the back of the top of that case. And you probably can't, well, you might be able to just about see it on the camera. You can just about see one of the dongles sitting up. Thank you, Dave. £2 super chat. He says, I'm off. Have a good evening, Mike and viewers. Thank you very much. As always, Mr. Dave, and thank you for that splendid image of me in my budgie smugglers.
Hot pants.
They were hot that day. So I don't know. Should I move the IO now? I think I might. I want to see how it's done. It looks like it's quite easy, but like most things in life, it probably isn't. So maybe we should have a go and see if it's a user-friendly experience. I'm trying to work out how this would actually come out. Do you know what? I can't actually see for the life of me. Oh, actually, there are 2 screws inside. This is all part of the learning process. Or is that just for the feet? You know that this is why they actually include user manuals. I got a sneaking suspicion it's actually in the foot itself. Did that do anything? Ah, yes, there's another 2 screws on that side of the case. It's easy to miss these things. So 4 screws so far. And, oh, yeah, that's cool. Then that just slides out. So we just feed through the cables from the back.
Not on the keyboard, baby.
It's actually quite a nice experience. And then we should,
Wanna get back in there?
in theory,
Not on the keyboard.
yes, there is a blanking plate there. So do I just unscrew
It's
that?
RTFM.
Read the fucking manual.
Oh, okay. My brain's frazzled with all these cats at the moment. I'm using this.
Let's take those screws out of there.
laptop.
So that then gives us our blanking plate, which we can then shove in there and then put a couple of screws in. And this, I'm guessing, you just feed your cables through.
No.
And I guess you've got the choice of which way that goes in. Whether you have your power button at the front or whether you have it at the back. I did see on one review that they moved the cables in this bit here, but yeah, you can put the cables through the other side. So if you want it to be a bit tidier, you see how that goes through there.
Right, Dave?
Can that just go in through there?
What you
No.
want?
Nope. Right, so that is going to have to go through cables first.
Touch down the stupid case. Just pick one that fits your hardware and that you like.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just not doing it very well. Right, so that goes in there. Oh, that's cool. Yes, that's it. Done. Now, it does appear, if you want to, you can actually take the cables at the side there and run them out this end, which would then kind of get them out of the way of your radiator and stuff. But I'm actually going to run it down the side anyway. So there's absolutely no point of me doing that. So I'm going to leave it there. That's absolutely fine. That's pretty cool. That was a little bit easier than I expected, to be honest. That's the sort of thing you could quite easily do. Well, definitely within a coffee break. If you are someone who gets a coffee break. If you're a bit bored, it's like, well, I'm going to move my front I/O. Put the kettle on. And realistically, by the time it's done, you're pretty much ready to go. There we go. So we've now got our front I/O actually on the top. That is pretty cool. Actually, I should do the overhead shot, shouldn't I? So put the cables back through. Pull them all the way through. Sorry, I'm being a bit cack-handed with this today. And that's locked into place. And there we go. We now have a spare screw. Why have I got a spare screw? What did I miss? What do you want, Maisie? What do you want?
I'll go back on your box now. Get him right with the camera.
Reposition case, please. Lol. Actually, I'm going to try a motherboard in there so you can see what the deal is with that. But yeah, that's worked out all right. Quite a good position there for the cables. Still loads of slack. Like your mum. Childish jokes. That's what it's all about. So yeah, I'm not keen on that filter. I was hoping that would come out of there, but it looks like it is actually bonded. Yeah, that is stuck in. You could probably unstick it, but that's a little bit of a shame. Because the thing is that the filter as well, especially on the top, isn't going to be doing an awful lot, because it's more really stopping things falling into the PC. However, I hate saying that, but it is a very fine mesh, so it shouldn't be too restrictive for your airflow. But yeah, I think that is kind of pretty much it for touring around the case. I've got screws left over there, so that's fun. So where do they go? Oh, actually, I see exactly where they go. So when you're not using the screws, there's actually 2 screw holes. You can leave them in there. So when you come to put it back in later, you still got your screws. So they've got little screw holders on the side. That's very cool. I don't know if that's supposed to be a thing, but I've just made it one.
Surely you could wash your top and side panels under the tap easily enough.
Oh yeah, you could do. And with
Not in our sink, you can't.
not in our sink, but with the weather we've been having recently, yeah, you could do that quite easily, and it would be pretty awesome. It would dry very, very quickly indeed. But the wind's dropped right down, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's freezing on my back. I think that's why I got bad kidneys. Yeah.
Calf's cold.
I was going to say, can I shut that window now? Because I am absolutely freezing.
I'm a bit sweaty. Go on in.
No, it's alright. Like my hoodie around my back. Cold on it.
Right, I'm going to put these back in. I think, for me personally, if I was using this case, I would probably not use the drive trays, but maybe one of them. Actually, saying that, they would be quite useful
As a cheese grater.
as a cheese grater. No, not a cheese grater. They would be quite useful as a
Garlic press.
garlic press. Not a garlic press either. They would be quite useful for storing like RGB hubs and stuff. You could stick your RGB hub in there, keep it all nice and neat and out of the way. Almost modular.
Yours?
That would be that's Discord. Put the other drive cage in. Sometimes I don't know about you lot, but me personally, I'm one of those people that I try and keep all the stuff of my PC builds together and like nice and organized.
Just
So
everything else in life.
yeah, just everything else is a complete and utter shambles. But the what I try to do is put all the bits and pieces inside the case or inside the box for the motherboard. So when it's actually time to change something or to maybe swap it out or even sell it on, I know I've got all the bits handy. And generally I do a really good job of that, but sometimes I get to the point where I can't fit all of it inside of the case box, because that is ultimately what I do. I put everything inside the case box. So inside the case box will be like the box of the power supply, motherboard, M.2 drives, RAM, graphics card, power supply if I didn't say it already. And if I can get it in there, so I'll get my peripheral stuff in there. So I'll get things like the keyboard and mouse and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I get to the point where I've stuffed so much in the box.
Do other people keep all this
nothing
stuff,
else will fit.
or do they chuck it out?
Most people chuck it out, but if I sell it, how am I going to send it anywhere or post
But
it?
like you do that for mine, but I'm never going to sell mine, am I? It's not going to be worth anything by the time I get rid of it.
Calf's F1, F15 box is still down there with all the stuff in there. Although saying that, I have put the box from my NAS in there as well, I think. So it has become useful. Thank you, Viali. Viali sent one Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To membership
I'm not doing
gift.
big lights if that's okay.
He's not doing the lights.
can't get
And
through
Inky1919 has received a gift membership. There you go, Inky1919. Congrats. Skystalker says, I try and keep all the parts box in the case box, but sometimes it won't fit. Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from there. I've been there many, many, many times. It is like Jenga or Tetris. So many times I've been playing Tetris with this stuff. So I'm going to install a motherboard now so to see what there is a drawback of this case, which again, bizarrely, is almost entirely self-induced by Lian Li. I don't really see what they achieve from it. I guess the micro ATX market in other regions it's just a very, very different beast than what it is here. Or maybe in the States. Like, realistically, let me know in the chat. If you had this case, would you even bother moving the motherboard tray up or down a bit? I don't think I would even think about doing it. Especially like ATX motherboard, I wouldn't do it. Right, what have I got here which might have some credentials to do what we want to do? Right, let's go with the overhead. And we've got our B850 Gaming Plus here. Inky says, thanks for the membership, much appreciated. Thank you to Viali. So let's move this into roughly the location. That looks pretty good there. Yeah, so in this particular instance, if you had a PCI Express slot at the top here, where the M.2 is currently, that slot is kind of occupied. You wouldn't really be able to use it. So on the current layout, I'm a little bit screwed actually. Let's move that up a bit. So I ideally want to use the bottom slot for my capture card, and I want to use the top slot for my graphics card. So top slot, I'm fine. Bottom slot, I've got no chance. The only thing I could do is possibly get some sort of riser and then install it into one of the slots above. Yeah, I might be able to get a riser and put it into the slot above. Get a very small riser, PCI riser. And that might work. Yeah, so that is the general look. Again, oh, fuck. If you've got the lovely bit of shattered glass.
That used to be a real trigger for me. Now it's got funny.
It is.
I can't wait till we do break fun.
So yeah, I need a motherboard which has got a very high slot. 50 Shades of White. Yeah, I know. I always thought that white was quite an easy one to colour match, but it really isn't. Right, what board's this here? That is a Tomahawk, so that's going to be exactly the same. What we got here, that is a Z790, so that is going to be the same. My Edge TI Wi-Fi should be the same. So yeah, I don't think I've got another board which actually has the slot at the top. It is quite a rare thing. Generally, you tend to see it on M.2. Oh God, brain. Normally, you see it on micro ATX boards. That's quite a common thing to see. The PCI Express being towards the top. A lot of ASRock boards do it. The pure B850 that we reviewed a little while back, that also had it. So yeah, there are limitations. There are going to be some boards where if you're trying to use the top PCI Express slot and it's got a lower M.2, so the grab that board out. So if the M.2, which is there at the top, if yours is switched to that location, so between two, it's not burning. Yeah, if those are switched, then this isn't the case for you. Potentially it might not be the case for you anyway, regardless. But I'm in two minds about it. I really am. I really wanted it to be a replacement for this case because it's a bit big and bulky and it's a little bit imposing and it's dark, so it darkens the whole image. So I would really like to have this.
Camera
Yeah,
with the white balance, because the white one was much worse.
yeah, that's true.
To be honest.
So anyway, there you go.
So you've got a case that thinks it can do everything, but actually can't do anything.
It's a case that can do everything, but there are still some limitations. If it's a micro ATX board, we'd be fine. But for ATX, there are going to be some very, very minimal boards which won't fit because of that top slot. And I don't think, I'm pretty sure that having the top graphics card slot actually being above the M.2 isn't normally a thing. It's generally frowned upon in terms of design by motherboard manufacturers. So there are very few boards that actually support it because it isn't a normal thing to do. For numerous reasons, including PCIe bandwidth going to like top slot generally for Gen 5 drives and above the GPU. So yeah, it's going to be, the thing is, this is where it always gets me. Like if you go for a slightly smaller case, there's always going to be something which is a little bit of a compromise or a challenge. And I generally don't mind a compromise or a challenge. But then if you look at the Lian Li O11 range, this one is specifically bought out because it is smaller. So it's like, right, I like the Lian Li O11 look and the kind of philosophy behind the design. If you want to have a full-size motherboard and you want to have graphics card on the top slot, etc., just get the O11 dynamic. If you want to have something smaller, then get the mini. It's not as if they haven't done a different model to suit everybody. This is for that kind of I would argue, slightly niche market who like the O11 but want something smaller. And like if anything, if you want a smaller case, smaller PC, there's going to be a compromise somewhere along the line, especially if you go micro ATX or ITX. Whereas this is not much bigger than a micro ATX case, but can take an ATX motherboard and also 360mm cooler, 2 fans in the side, 3 fans in the bottom, 1 fan in the back, 3 in the top, plenty of cooling. Also got some other quite nice features, such as these removable plastic brackets. So depending, metal brackets, plastic plungers on the end. So in terms of airflow, if you want to have your 2 fans in there, and you're thinking, well, I don't really want to cool my GPU too much, I'll rather cool my CPU, you can mount both up there. If you want one at the top, one at the bottom, you can put one of these blanking plates, or both blanking plates, in the middle, wherever you want, or just one at the top and one at the bottom, as is the kind of the normal positioning of them. But again, you've got a little bit of choice, a little bit of flexibility, what you can do and where you can move them. I'll put that one there. Actually, where is it? No, there it is. Yeah, there's places you can move them. You can't put it in the middle. I thought you could, but you can't. But yeah, just blanking plates, just to prevent, firstly, I suppose, to stop airflow kind of recirculating in the back there, because there's enough room behind here to do push-pull. So if you wanted to put an AIO on here with the fans in front and then another set of fans on the back to give you a little bit more power, which not many people do, to be honest with you, but you might want to, you never know. You can do that. Lots of flexibility, apart from motherboards which have got the top GPU slot.
Oh, bless you.
iRolfman says, I think case makers have gotten lazy since the O11 arrived over 8 years ago. Yeah, the thing is, it's like, we have come to the point where there isn't really, well, as far as we know, there isn't really anything else you can do. We have come to the point where...
Don't know if me to
It's at the top.
there somewhere.
There isn't really anything else you can do. Sorry, Kath's watching me on there. Yeah, we come to the point where design-wise, like ATX really is arguably the perfect design for the ATX form factor. The typical scenario, like something like the Corsair 4000D or the O11, they're basically kind of they've kind of perfected it. So whether you want just raw airflow straight front to back, or whether you want the fish tank look, it's kind of, there isn't really anything you can do to improve it. You can get more mesh, you can use more powerful fans, bigger fans, etc. But the kind of the principle or the design layout hasn't changed in ages.
Side tray come out and flip.
What? What's that?
Side tray come out and flip.
The side tray come out? Which side tray? This side tray? I don't think so. Is that what you mean? This side tray, or?
I'm not a tech person.
Who's asking? I can't see who's asking
Gentleman
that.
bad boy.
Gentleman bad boy, where is
Is
that?
it the last question asked?
Oh, side tray come out and flip. Oh, what, this here? No. Not in this version anyway. If that's the bit you mean, that's side tray. No. But yeah, there is the kind of the layout. ATX is kind of, unless there's some sort of really monumental push and shift for a different motherboard layout, then I think this is pretty much the way it's going to be. Realistically, there isn't really a need to do anything with ATX, because like the ATX layout is basically the same as micro ATX. ITX is just a smaller version of that. So that kind of, that whole kind of upper square, the IO at the rear, CPU in the middle, RAM slots down the side, chipset, PCI Express slot, etc. It's very widely accepted as being probably the best use of the physical space allowable. Until the physical ports get smaller, which is unlikely, because it would break a lot of the standards, and the way chips are going higher and higher frequencies, coolers are going to have to get bigger and bigger because they're using more and more wattage or burning through more power. They might be doing it more efficiently, but they're still using that power. So we're still going to need physically large heat sinks until, again, there's a dramatic shift in that technology as well. So there's no real reason to redesign it. Now, I know this is a bit unfair to say it, but Dave Aitken keeps on going about the ATX needs to be like scrapped and we need to start over. But I think it's okay. I cannot think of any other logical way that you could have a motherboard and case layout which would actually make any sense to change.
I think it was. Might have been the one above.
Sky says, there's a reason for that, Mike. The traditional case just kind of works. It's a good compromise between cooling and form and function. Yeah. Like, I know Thermaltake had a stab at this CTE, the centralized thermal experiment, which I wasn't a big fan of the CTE cases, really. Just essentially rotating the platform 90 degrees, because essentially it's still just ATX. It's just ATX 90 degrees twisted, which I don't really know if it helped anyone or anything. It was different, and it was nice that they made a little bit of a stab to try and change the market, but I don't think it really took off. Surely since those cases kind of debuted, they haven't really followed up on the CTE form factor. They've gone more over to the View range, which is essentially fish tank cases. So yeah, I don't think that was a particularly cool idea. Sky says CTE, don't think I've seen that. We've done a couple of CTE reviews. I think we did the CTE 700. There might have been a 500. It was very similar to the Tower PCs as well. The Tower did the same. So the Tower took the 90-degree rotation, but then elongated the chassis, so it became a tower. Whereas the CTE rotated it, but then expanded outward, so that you had more room for your graphics cards. I didn't really like it, and I was quite, not vocal, but I said that I didn't like it when I was reviewing the CTE cases. I know for some people they made absolute sense, but for me it just felt as if like you're reinventing the wheel for the sake of reinventing the wheel. And also the things that challenges that came with that, because if you're rotating your platform 90 degrees, everything which has been designed and branded to work in the ATX layout now looks weird. So like graphics cards, the logos were all down the side. The coolers, they were all 90 degrees wrong. So that's why they started doing those rotatable designs on the pump heads and things like that. Yeah, and there's also a lot of muscle memory. When you came to wire them up, it was always like, oh God, where's the EPS connector? And it's like EPS is suddenly like down at the bottom or over on the other side. So it was a really weird shift, literally. So yeah, I wasn't. Dave Under says the Tower 600 is hopeless to access the I/O. Again, that's another thing. The I/O situation, like ATX motherboards, the I/O is at the back. There's a little bit of I/O at the front or the top or whatever, and it's kind of what we're all used to. If you go towards a PC, almost any PC on the planet, you kind of understand that there's going to be some form of I/O on the back, whether it's a mini PC, a tower PC, whatever. When they started putting it in like the top with those tower cases, it just all seems like, just why change it? There's literally no benefit of having your I/O at the top when it's kind of recessed and hidden and you're still fishing around for things. It's, first of all, it's actually a lot easier to accidentally drop something in there that you shouldn't, like a loose screw or, I don't know, dirt, debris, fingernails, Cheeto dust, whatever. It's really easy to damage the ports, whereas at least if they're sort of horizontal, vertical on the back, like things naturally fall due to gravity. So it's a kind of a safer design. I don't know. Dak says BTX. Yeah, BTX wasn't too bad, but BTX didn't last very long. BTX, I think, was around about 2000, 2001, maybe 2003, that sort of early 2000s era. Dell did a lot of BTX cases, especially I think around, I'm probably not remembering it correctly, but I want to say it was around the 478 socket for Intel. You can't go in the front. Shut up. Yeah, BTX. There was also, weirdly, Arctic Cooling did two cases, which were the, I can't think what they were called. Silentium, I think. Silentium T1 and T2, I think they were. Or Silentium P1 and P2. I think it was T1 and T2, Silentiums. And they were a kind of a more airflow orientated ATX layout. But they actually had more of a BTX layout than ATX, because BTX was effectively ATX compatible, at least cases were. So yeah, it was a strange time, but it never really did anything. Dutch Jan says Mike's Unboxing adapted for the left side of your desk. What, the current cases or newer cases would be? Oh, they are now, I guess. Yeah, depends. Yeah, that way is left hand on my desk, but then really it should be on the right hand side, really, so you can see the front, but whatever. Silverstone Raven was like that. I don't remember that one, I don't think, or do I? Rashner says push-pull gives zero thermal benefit unless you have a infinity mirror, RGB or something, and want to give it more bling. Yeah, push-pull, we used to be like, everyone used to be really raving about that. Again, probably the early 2000s, push-pull radiators or custom loops, like that was always a thing. But even then, I don't think fans were drastically worse in terms of their static pressure. Maybe they were, they probably were. Whether or not it actually helped, I don't know. I think it would have been better to choose a radiator which had larger fins, so easier to pass air through, less dense. Dutch Jan says, with the main board rotated 90 degrees, Oh yeah. No, that'd be 180 degrees, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be, well, yeah, I suppose it could do. There were some Silverstone cases, and also I think it was, oh God, what was the brand? Charcoon. They had a case, I think it was the RV,
Rev.
the Rev 5, was it, or something? Or, no, Rev 220. Rev 220, that sounds about right. Which was, the motherboard was actually 180 degrees. So it was designed to be literally like on the other side of your desk. Yeah, Dutch Jan says it. Which probably, if he's still listening, Glenn, I'm sure Glenn had that case off me. I think I said it before. Which was, and there's the Rev 300 as well. I Wolfman says I have that too. Okay. I find it weird because I had the Rev 220. I had it over that side on the desk and I had the monitor there. And it was actually quite nice, but it just really freaked me out with everything being upside down. But the graphics card had the fans on the top. And it just, yeah, it all seemed very weird. But it was different. And different is good sometimes. Do I want to put those pins in there? No, I don't. Anyway, what time is it? Cool. Not doing too bad. So, I think that is pretty much it for the case. I think I've probably bored you all to tears with it now. Of which I apologise. But I know there'll be people that will be asking questions, and probably I'll be asking questions as well. And I'll be saying to myself, why did I change the IO location? It was perfect before. Oh, what is that? Oh dear.
Conflict if you can laugh about it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious me. I'm putting it in the wrong hole. Where am I?
Ram it in, perhaps.
Why does that not want to stay in there now? Ah, I know what it was. The latch didn't pop out properly. It's my fault. That's a user error. Although saying that, I suppose they should make the latches a little bit more user-friendly. Yeah, it was that last little bit, so it was in, but didn't click into place. Didn't click in there. Oh dear. Right, let's put that edge protector back on, because that's probably important. Probably isn't, but whatever. Whatever.
Sloppy workmanship.
Sloppy. I must say as well, in terms of the actual construction, it is actually all very well put together. It's actually quite weighty as well. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as heavy as it is. So Lian Li have actually used some very strong construction materials in this case. But after kind of taking it all apart and having a look and trying a potential motherboard in there.
Question, what was the best case ever made?
I don't know. What was the best case ever built? Oh, that is a tough one.
Made.
The best case ever made, I don't know. It changes because the best case made at a certain point in time may not be the best case ever. And the best case ever might have been rubbish for people either now or previous. So I don't think there really is like a best case. There's been a lot of good cases, and certainly ones which have been very popular in their time. I think the Antec 900 was probably one of those kind of standout moments. Also the Lian Li Lam Cool range, or the Lan Boy as well. Those were always very popular. Prior to probably late 90s, there wasn't really a kind of a really strong case market. It wasn't until people started doing modifications that it became like a case was a thing. prior to that, it was just like a case is a beige box. You're either going to have a desktop or a tower, depending on if you want to put your monitor on top of it or you want to put it to the side of it, or if you want to use more than 2 bays or something. So the real case market that we kind of know now only really started around about 2000, maybe 99, 2000. Before that, there wasn't really any real competition, and there were very few manufacturers that actually did anything different. Yeah, the Lancool range. The Lancool range have always pretty much been there. Be Quiet 701. See, I've not really liked hardly any Be Quiet cases for a long time. I don't really get them. But yeah, I think the Antec 900 definitely, I think the Antec 900 sold more cases by volume than all the other manufacturers put together. It was just like ridiculously popular for its time. And like we had 5 of them at one point. Like Calf's PC, my PC, the Media Center PC, George's PC. Oh, did I have another one as well? No, 4 I must have had. Yeah, 4 of those. Oh no, I bought another one, didn't I? Because I'd painted it white. So yeah, I had one in a case which I just to sell. So yeah, 5 of those cases I had at one point. And that's the most I've had of anything. That was a good one. But it all depends on the use case scenario. Ira Wolfman says the Haven is the new GOAT case. See, I don't really like those either. We were offered those for review and I turned it down because I just looked at it and I didn't like the price. I thought it was way too expensive. I'm generally someone who likes a slightly less expensive case if I can possibly do it. Because otherwise it gets very expensive. Yeah, the Cooler Master half is good, or the Cosmo. Dak says my 900 went rusty. I rescued the top fan though. Yeah, that was the thing. They did go rusty, didn't they? Internally, they would go rusty because they were painted on the outside black, but most of the inside was still left as like bare metal. So they did have a tendency to rust, especially if you vaped or smoked or in a damp environment. Oh, what am I being notified for now? Nothing important, I think.
Just checking.
Just Angel saying she's going to try and keep her car clean. Yeah, right. Rusty case, that's a new one. Yeah, it's I suppose in America and probably in the States, in Canada where you've got like air conditioning, and probably in Europe as well to some extent, but certainly in the UK, I've had a few of the Antec 500s which actually did exhibit some small signs of rust. It was the blood that made it rust. Yeah, I've had a few cases which have been rusty internally. It's rare, very rare. Normally it's because it's untreated metal or unpainted. It was generally like if you could see the actual silver of the metal. Okay, I think, unless there's any more questions on this, I think we have probably come to the end. I'll just quickly have a look. Oh yeah, the Lian Li 6077, the full tower aluminium one. That was cool. And it was one of the first cases that actually had front-mounted USB ports with a little flap. You can access the green and the pink ports for the headphone and mic on the old AC97 format, the Exilia. Yeah, that was the days. And USB 2 ports. Good times. Yeah, I miss painting my cases as well. Case modding is not really a thing, is it now? Not as much as it used to be. Used to be just get the cheapest shit case you can afford and then make it your own.
Mark Gaines.
Mark Gaines. Are you not going to build in that case, Mike? I am going to build in it, but I was initially wanting to replace that to go there, but I am going to struggle because my capture card for the streams is an Elgato and it needs a PCI Express PCI Express X4 size slot. So it'll go in a 16X slot or it'll go in a 4X slot, but it won't fit in a 1X slot. And I think if I go with my plan of motherboard for this, it's going to be the slot is too far down. Or alternatively, I attempt to use my Sapphire board, the micro ATX one. But then I feel a bit weird putting a micro ATX board into an ATX case, even though this is designed for both. But potentially I might do that. That might actually work out okay if I can still get access to the last slot on the board. It might have to be a bit of a consideration there. I will be doing a review of this case separately as well, and I will be doing a build on it. So rest assured you will see it at some point, and it'll be decked out to the gills with Lian Li Infinity RGB fans all around, and the OLED screen cooler, that's all going to be in there. So it's going to be very bling-tastic for those of you that are into your lighting. For those of you that aren't into it, I suggest you just close your eyes for that one. Ask Lian Li for an Evo RGB or XL. I might. Sky says, yeah, Sapphire, do it, Mike. I might see if I can get another. Samram says, so as this case isn't ideal, which other cases would you consider for stream PC? Well, I think realistically it's going to have to be either the standard O11, the big version. I have actually got a new case coming out from Thermaltake as well, which is the new Stage 500. That will be coming out towards the beginning of August. So that might be the other option. I need to look at it and see what it's all about. I think that one's going to be a bit tall because it's designed to be like a slightly elongated case, and it's got like a section along the bottom for displaying figurines and what have you. So it's a little bit of a different look, although it has got some strange or interesting I/O, which is at the front here. So yeah, we'll see that when it comes. I still might end up doing it in here. I might just rethink my capture card. The Elgato is getting a little bit long and tough now, so I have actually got somewhere. Yes. I have actually got the Live Streamer Ultra HD, which I think will do 4K. Will it do? Yeah, it needs a PCI Express Gen 3 times 1 slot. Resolution. Why don't they do this in English? That would be so much easier. Oh, there we go. Supported resolutions. 2160p, 1440p, and max recording 2160p. Yeah, so it'll do 4K 30. So I might end up sticking that in, taking the Elgato out. The only problem is the Elgato's got 4 inputs for HDMI, whereas this has only got 1, which is a bit of a nuisance. But I very rarely add an HDMI input in. It was only originally because we had the Lumix camera there and a Lumix camera above, whereas now I'm using a webcam above. So it should be fine. But we'll see. Chris says, never had a Thermaltake case, not quite my style. Yeah. It is, it's not everybody's cup of tea. Landcool 2 mesh, that's a possibility. Fractal North, that was one I considered as well. L-Connect 3, if that came to all PC hardware, something similar anyway, just one cable. Yeah, it would be quite nice. It's a good system. The L-Connect 3 software is actually pretty good and works surprisingly well and has actually minimal overheads on the system. I thought it was going to be like a real kind of ball and chain around the CPU, but the CPU usage is actually quite low for L-Connect because it runs as a service rather than kind of as a program all the time. So yeah, it's quite efficient in what it does, even with the crazy RGB effects. And there's also a version of L-Connect 3 which actually has open RGB as well support, so you can actually use like other brands RAM, other graphics cards, and you can synchronize your RGB with L-Connect, which is quite a nice thing to do, because there's a lot of people like the Lian Li stuff but don't want to be like completely in the ecosystem, because there's some stuff that you just can't do. Like graphics cards, for instance, don't synchronize with L-Connect, but now they can do, and so can your RAM, which is quite an interesting thing. I've actually made a video on it which is coming out shortly. Shows you the process and how it works. Bring back the Series 500. To be honest with you, I really would like to. I actually missed the Series 500. If I saw another one for sale now at a good price, I probably would buy one. If they have a clear out somewhere, I might get another one. I love that case. That was a great case.
Black.
In black this time, yeah. Yeah, the black Series 500 would be awesome.
Reality says black looks better on that shelf, and I agree.
Yeah, I think it probably does actually. It kind of sinks into the background.
Because it's all white otherwise. You've got the shelf and you've got the shelving.
50 Shades of White.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've said it already. So I think that is going to wrap this one up. Hopefully you've enjoyed the stream. If you haven't already, leave a like. Would be much appreciated. And obviously, as always, share the streams and videos if you can. I know tech stuff isn't particularly interesting at the moment, but well, we just have to brace ourselves, ride the storm. Hopefully, come August, September, when kind of silly season is over, we should have some new and interesting things to look at and to talk about. And obviously the back to school thing, that always stimulates the economy and what is going on. And then of course, then you've got the lead up to Thanksgiving and then Christmas and New Year sales and CES, etc. So hopefully we haven't got too long to go. We just make it through the summer and things hopefully should start getting better. Or the AI bubble will burst, who knows. Anyway, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thank you all for your kind contributions, donations, watching the videos and liking them. It is all massively appreciated, and we'll catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye. Say bye, Kath.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. S'il vous plaît, everybody.